Good morning, Gers TV. My name's Si Leslie, and I've got my mate Ryan here to talk about all things Rangers. How's things, pal?
Aye, tired, mate, but slept like a baby last night, as I'm sure you did as well.
I actually, when the Gers TV show finished earlier last night, got up the road and I seen Celtic were winning 1-0, so I went to my bed. It was 4-0 with Celtic, so I take it went through.
Nope.
We might be pissed, but I'll tell you what.
Oh man, I mean that's bad, isn't it? It's bad. So
for what I've seen of the game, I've only seen bits yet. For what I've seen of the game, it could have been about 10-1, to be honest. So I know it's bad, but
that scored a lot of goals, and I think we need to take a bit from that game ourselves, and actually look at the way they played against them, the way they approached the game and stuff, and say, right, that's how you beat them. That's what you need to do. You need to be shooting from outside the box, shooting from distance, being front foot on the aggressive, cut the supply off to the strikers. There's a formula there, and I think if a couple of games, we're going to be playing them in a couple of weeks. I think we need to get our analysts onto that game and just actually have a look and see how that was done, because that was great viewing.
I agree with you 100%, and they looked easy to open up when you did a fast counter attack on them. But we can laugh for a couple of days, but then it goes back to our business on Thursday, and the last time that we went is a banana skin next. What's your thoughts on it? You looking forward to the game Thursday evening?
No, to be honest, no.
I'm the same.
We just, if we get through it, fine, but we all said at the start of the season, and I'm pretty sure more or less every kind of Rangers fan said that they weren't bothered about Europe this season. It's all about the league, it's all about domestic, and we need to make sure that we win the league no matter what and stuff. And whatever happens in Europe's a bonus. Europe may actually just be taken away from us this season. So
fair choice.
We kind of need it. Obviously, the financial implications of it, the coefficient points we need to be earning and stuff as well. But it's the kind of two-pronged attack financially. So obviously, we're going to go into the transfer window. I think we're still looking to get. I'm not even good at pronounce his name. South Korean boy should hopefully get unveiled today.
Yep. Kim.
Yep, we're still under Kelsey, looking for the Kelsey, the striker. We're still trying to negotiate him. I think it's just the fees a stumbling block at this moment in time. And there's still rumours of a couple of other players that are meant to be coming in. But if you can't offer them European football, the only thing you can offer them is money. So it's one of these things that you might end up having to chuck cash at it, because they might turn around and say, well, I'm not signing for you because you've not got any European football to offer to me. And then you end up having to chuck an extra 5-10 grand or whatever it's going to be on their contract. So you've just got to be kind of wary of that. So the Europa Conference League, if you actually look at the teams that are in it and the teams that are going to possibly play in it, there's a good possibility we could do quite well in it. It's only 6 games. You only really need about 10 points of the 6 games to get yourself into the next round, and there's no kind of playoff round or anything. You do go into a kind of last 16, I think it goes into.
And there's less games. Less games is a big one for me.
Aye, and that's also another wee thing about them getting knocked out last night. They're not going to be playing the Saturday to put pressure on us playing the Sunday. Everyone's going to be playing on the Sunday, so there's a kind of wee caveat with that kind of evens the playing field a little bit as far as kind of sporting advantage is concerned.
I thought it was a wee bit of karma when you actually seen referees that do their job and go with the rules, know the rules to suit one club. So I thought it was a wee bit of karma there. In terms of Thursday night, mate, I would suggest that Rangers go 4-3-3, similar to what they've done the last couple of weeks, but do everything they can to get an early goal, and then I would close shop. I would shut up shop. Just try and get through and do exactly what you were talking about there. Get these new signings in, get them bedded in, and start going on a run.
I think it would be very naive to go out there and try and defend a 1-0 aggregate lead, defending a 1-0 lead at any point, never mind a 1-0 aggregate lead, is roping the Aye. So we should just go out there, just try and be the best version of ourselves, make sure that we get a goal. If we score first, that could, really dent their confidence, and, do we go in and get a second and really kind of see the tie out? We just need to go out there and be the Rangers that played against St Mirren the week before. It's we've just got a wee habit of just getting into our shell just now. I think there's a foundation of a good team there. We just need to make sure that we don't have any kind of lack of concentration. I'm thinking about Manny Fernandes when I'm saying that. We need to just make sure we go out there and put a right good professional performance in and make sure we get the goal that we need.
Yeah, and I agree with that. We get the goal. But the one thing I'll say about Fernandes, I've been pretty critical of him recently, but I was looking at his stats. If we can get that goal, I don't mind the back pass if it's a defensive game we're playing and it's a good pass. We'll just try to shut shop. I don't mind that. We've got to remember Fernandes is a good player. He just seems to have went off rails this season. If we can get him back to what he was last season, then we've got a good defence here. I'm quite confident that defence can be tougher, and I think Macania, sorry, but the pronunciations are going to get murdered this season. Big Colin with his Canadian accent last night was struggling with him. Macania could be the guy that really shows up the defence and makes us solid, but I think Penrice in the future could be a Rangers captain. So I'm a wee bit more confident than I was last week.
Yeah, and I think with Fernandes, we've seen his qualities last season. That we need to kind of maybe try and find a way to try and get him out of the team. We've seen it with Kisama, that we pulled him out of the team for a few weeks and he's come back and he's starting to kind of look more like the player that we recognised from last season, at the start of last season. So we really need Godfrey to come in and get fit, and we do the reinforcements at centre-half. We can't be relying on Dujo and Sterling and Ross McCrory coming in and just doing a job for us. I don't think that's fair to either of them. We really need an actual proper recognised centre-half. We need an answer to what's happening with John Souttar's situation. That's really, really strange what's going on there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something's maybe happened in the background or something.
I thought that we would have had a possible bounce-up game and maybe get Godfrey's fit, but I don't know if they have. I've not heard anything. Possibly they have it and nobody knows, but I haven't heard anything, so I'm not sure where Godfrey is in terms of being fit, because that's a good shout. Dropping Fernandes doesn't mean he's out of the team forever. It just means he's getting a bit up the arse, and it might be because it looks like pressure on him now. I think he's terrified to make that forward pass.
Yeah, and he's obviously got a certain value against him, Si. When you're talking like Bayer Leverkusen coming in and talking like a really silly number for him, like you maybe need to actually try and protect that valuation as well, and not put him in the limelight and kind of put pressure on him. You actually say, look, we're taking you out the equation just now because you're attracting certain teams and certain valuations and stuff like that. So we'd rather you didn't make a mess of things in Europe for everyone to see and they put off these potential suitors for you. Yeah,
good comments come in here. Brian Robertson has asked, do you think we'll start with Shankland? I think he'll start with the same team that he's been starting with or similar, and I think Naderi up front, and I'd like to see Naderi starting and maybe getting a goal, because 3 goals in a row would give him the confidence he needs. However, here's a suggestion I'm going to make. I'd play Finlay Curtis and Gassama at the start of the game, and with the last half hour I'd bring Yokota on, because Yokota's speed, and he doesn't seem to be a 90-minute man yet, but his speed and pace could be the difference in the last 20 minutes of the game tomorrow night.
Yeah, and I think Finlay Curtis is probably a little bit more suited for the kind of defensive side of things. Yokota, obviously, we realise he's a little bit small, a wee bit lightweight, but Curtis obviously did a wee bit of a job last season for Neil McCann playing right back for Killie at some point. So there'll be, let's not go under illusion, there'll be some parts of the game on Thursday that we are backs to the wall and we do need to defend our goal for periods of time. So, start with Finlay Curtis may be a good option for us.
Yeah, and what do you think, 4-3-3?
I mean, it seems to be the formula that he's finally found a solution to what he's trying to do. He's tried virtually every other formation in football, and he seems to be getting a tune out the 4-3-3 with the Gassama and Yokota on the wings with just a lone striker. I think he does have to start with Naderi. I think it would be harsh on him. He has scored the first goal in the last 2 games for us, so yeah, I think Naderi's earned the jersey to start with it. So it's his to lose at this moment in time. And we do, as I say, we're going to need somebody that's got a lot of industry. Shankland's, as much as the big man tries to get himself about the park as much as he can, I don't think his years of doing 10 kilometres in a game are behind, are in front of him. I think they're behind him now. Yeah,
I think he'll be a kind of late substitute in most games now, but he's still got the leader. He's still got the leader attributes. I just think that there's my camera went off. Should be back.
Just get a wee second, mate. I'll show you back in. Exit the studio and come back inside. Sometimes that works for it.
Yep. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you fine.
Aye, so I can still hear you, I can still hear you. It should come back on. For some bizarre reason, the camera went, I didn't even move. It's not coming back on. Do you see exit and come back in?
I exit the studio and come back in, that usually works with it. See what we get in there. So the wee comment there from Brian, will Shankland start? Aye, we don't think so, Brian. I think he's there. It's a strange one when he's obviously been made the captain and then he's losing the starting place. Obviously if the boy Kelsey comes in as well, does he actually fall even further down the pecking order? So, but just because you're captain doesn't necessarily mean you're guaranteed to be starting, but I do understand it's a wee bit unusual in there. Let's get any more comments there. When's Kim going to be announced? I believe it has to be today. Medical's done, personal terms agreed, and we've paid his release clause as well, so hopefully that's today. We'll look at that.
Yeah.
He's back.
100%, mate. Just getting my green screen back on. The issue with that, but I am back in. Aye, so hopefully we can get 2 signings a day. I think 2 signings would be ideal for us. We can get, still got a browser issue. I don't know what's causing it.
You're fine, mate.
I know why now.
Yeah. Thought you said he was gifted with the technical ability. What's saying? So the same can be said for Finlay and Curtis, good impact player coming on as a sub. You go to random raggers from the start. Yeah, yep. I think He's just got obviously working his fitness and stuff. Make sure that he's actually lasting 80 minutes. But it's great to have options. This is the thing that, you could train your players to be playing for 60 minutes and, run themselves into the ground, and then you do bring somebody else on for the last half an hour. So it's great to have options and not having to run your players into the ground for 90 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a squad game. Tomorrow night's a squad game. It's as simple as that. Get as many players fit as possible in the park and just be hard to beat. Get that early goal and shut up shop. That's a big one for us. Close shop.
It's just been that wee bit clever, Si, and just, the European style of the game. It's been done to us. How many times where, we just run the clock down that little bit more and just, you're slowing the game down, just frustrating the opposition, keeping the crowd quiet. It's all the kind of the wee silly things that have been done to us over the years that we've never been very good at, that we need to learn. So we'll see what comes of it. It's a big test for McInnes as well as the players as well, because it's if he can get over this hurdle, it's a wee bit of a strike for him as a manager as well. Size away again there. Keep your comments coming in, guys. We'll keep chatting away on these things.
I'm still here. Sorry, I'm still here. I'm just trying to refresh that page here because it came off altogether. The browser's got an issue. Must be something early doors. I don't know if there's technical issue, but I'll be back on in a second.
Okay, mate. No bother at all. Is anybody getting out to the game that's in the chat just now? Is anyone take the opportunity to go out there? And also, as well, if we're lucky enough, who would you like to see in the draw? If we
I just want to get in the
there.
draw. Morning, Andrew. How you doing, mate? Part of mine. Aye, it's it would be a good trip actually. To be fair, if anybody's going it, it's away again. Gremlins are in the day, mate. I've got the Gremlins today.
I think you said Greenstein size giving you the bother.
Aye, I've got Gremlins today. I don't know why, but I've got Gremlins, so we'll go with it.
You get a cream for that. You can get a cream for that for the chemist, don't worry.
I know. I'm just getting all set. I'm going to what do you call it, Brighton tomorrow. So I'm just Friday. So I'm just getting ready for that. So I've not had much chance to update the computer or stuff like that. So I've not been on it. But anyway, aye. If anybody's going, let us know. If anybody's going over to the game, because the beer will be fantastic there, and I think it'll be great. That'll be one of the games you'll remember. Hopefully for a victory, right enough.
Yeah, I think you were talking to Dingwall yesterday, and it seems like planes, trains, and automobiles to get themselves out there. So fair play to anyone who's taking the task on and get out and seen that. So look after each other, please, when you're all out there.
Yeah, Blue Stars making a good point. We definitely need more drive. The only thing I would argue with that is if we get this Korean boy, he's supposed to be really, really fast, according to the podcast.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be really fast. He might be that bit of drive And that could maybe be what we need to open up teams.
Yeah, and we're starting to kind of see the wee kind of bits of Javovic's game where he's shooting for goal for distance and stuff like that. I think he's going to turn out to be a really good player for us. So we just need to kind of get guys in that are going to complement this young talent that we've got. I still think we're lacking that tiny little bit of experience. You're looking towards kind of Penrice and Shankland and Sterling, as the older guys in the team there. I think we've only got one player. I think it's Shankland. I think Liam Kelly's the other one. It's over the age of 30, which is okay. But when the emphasis was that we were going out to sign leaders and stuff, I do still think you need a wee bit more experience within the squad. I'm still looking towards something like a kind of Steve Davis kind of signing. We've got a kind of a calmer, experienced older head within the camp to do it.
And as you speak about that, Lewis Ferguson was the captain of Bologna, not anymore. You reading anything into that?
100%, mate. Aye. I think there's a deal there. I think there's a deal being done. We'll not be privy to it as Joe Public there, but I think there's going to be a domino effect that you're probably going to see Raskin move on. We know that Bologna long-term admirers are Conor Barron as well. So, I think that they just, haven't hidden away from the fact that Nico Raskin is very much for sale. It's just a case of finding, somebody who's going to come in and pay our valuation for him. That where somebody he's going to be happy to go and play his football. It's going to be a top 5 league. I don't think he's going to go anywhere else. I know there was obviously rumours of Fenerbahce and stuff coming in there, throwing a lot of money about just now. But I think the wee man's earned the right to go to a top 5 league. I don't think I'd be out of order by saying that about him. So there'll be the domino effect that Raskin will probably move on, free up a space in the squad. It's all this financial fair play bullshit that we've got to deal with as well. But I think Lewis Ferguson's a Rangers player in the waiting. I think it's very obvious what's going on here. And the fact that he's now lost the Bologna captaincy, I think it's just a matter of time. We've got 5 days left of the transfer window.
I think there's more than that. Is it no next Thursday?
It's 5 o'clock on the 3rd of September. It is whatever day of the week that is.
Okay. So a couple of things that go on Rangers' favour for this one if it was to go ahead. First of all, what goes against us? Money. Sometimes it's just down to money and nothing else. What goes in my favour? Lewis Ferguson, Rangers supporter, played for the club at a youth level. His family's played for the club. His dad's played for the club. I don't think it'd be very hard for Derek McInnes to pick up the phone to speak to Barry or Derek. Good friends with the two of them. So he's got so many things on his side for this that there's no way in the world that he's not been speaking to them already. It's just a case of can they get the money together, I think. And if he can get the money together, it's a done deal. And I think that might be the last piece of the jigsaw with the young lad Kim from Korea. That could be the final piece of the jigsaw for this season, because you're right. When I watched the game last night, they're no great shakes. They just need a team that's going to go at them and be brave. And we need players to be brave. Ferguson would be that man for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's no other centre midfielder in Europe that I want to sign just now apart from Lewis Ferguson. It's as simple as that. Maybe Billy Gilmour, but I think Billy Gilmour probably financially just out with the reaches met better on a right good wage at the place. So I think that's probably something that's just is financially out of reach just now. But if it wasn't Lewis Ferguson, I'd like to see Billy Gilmour.
Yeah, but we certainly need that midfield shored up. The alternative to this would be if no movement takes place and we keep Raskin. I wouldn't be completely annoyed at that either. If you get the Raskin that's got the ability that we've seen, we would just need more consistency from him. But I think that just what's happening behind the scenes and Raskin being dropped, I think it's a matter of time before he does leave. And if he does, I would wish him all the best. I think he's been a good servant to Rangers.
He's done okay. He's had these moments where he's been a bit of a challenging player to manage for Sudgell. Obviously, we see the situation when he was put out of the team last season by Russell Martin and stuff. He has the right way when he came back in and he scored straight away. Barry Ferguson kind of alluded to he's quite a difficult player to manage as well. But all in all,
Barry got the best of him.
Definitely. I would say that he's probably one of his best spells at the club was under Barry. But we've signed him for very low and we're selling him for high. And he's come in, he scored a good few goals for us and he's done okay. We've certainly signed a lot worse players and done worse business than Nico Raskin in the past. I
think, if I'm right, we signed Nico Raskin on the same transfer window on the same week as Cantwell. And at the time, I was more excited about Cantwell. I thought Cantwell would have been a bigger signing. So if you compare it that way, if you're comparing the two of them then, I would say it's been a successful signing. But I just think if the player wants to go, and that's a big if, but if he wants to go, then it's important that a player's not playing at a club when he's got his heart set on a move. And if Lewis Ferguson wants to come to Rangers, then that would make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I still feel sorry about the Cantwell side. And I think Cantwell was an incredible footballer. He was just a crap employee. That's all it is. He's just not a great person to have in and around the building, but on the football part, there was no question his ability. The guy was brilliant. You know, his industry, he's going back and forth, he's scoring goals, he's, you know, getting tackles in and stuff like that. The guy himself, when he was in the mood, was a great footballer. But when he wasn't in the mood, he's sitting sulky in the dressing room and he's posting things on Instagram and stuff like that, and just basically making a tit of himself. And you can't have people at the club. I
think if you're going to have a Cantwell at the club, you'd actually, in my opinion, you might find he would be better under Derek McInnes. The reason I'm saying that is Cantwell would actually be better with guys like Walter Smith or Dick Advocaat, who he's played under, Derek, and basically guys that would threaten to boot his, well, watch what I'm saying because we're on a family channel, but to give him a square boot in the bollocks, basically, if he doesn't go over the party line and become a team player, and then give him a wee cuddle later on. Sometimes you need that, you need both. And maybe, I'm not sure if Clement was that type of manager, let's say.
Yeah, I think that's bang on side. I think it's having somebody. If Smith can manage, if Smith can manage the dressing room that he managed, you know, back in kind of 96, 97, where he had McCoist, Gascoigne, Duran, if he can control that, he can control Todd Cantwell on his Instagram. You know, absolutely, that's pissing the pill to water, to be honest with you, if he'd had that.
And that's maybe what he's needing. I'm just laughing at it. It's hard, see, when you do a 7 o'clock in the morning show, right? You know what I'm talking about, Ryan. People text you and you go, you were starting, you got that, Ryan, you get this thing. You're literally just out of your bed and you're trying to talk about the famous. It's quite hard at times, but it'll certainly wake you up for the rest of the day. And I'll be walking into work the day with a spring in my step.
Oh, aye. Yep. The hills are alive with the sound of music today.
I was just looking for one of the yodelers to sing the sash. You never know, it's early doors.
Yep.
But loads of comments coming in agreeing with you, Ryan, on the Cantwell thing, but we've moved on for that. Two signings would do me, mate, and if the two signings come in with a result in Europe, then it's a case of going to Aberdeen and don't give Aberdeen any respect, just go and really give them a right good game, mate.
We know it's going to be their World Cup final up there at the weekend. It always is when the Rangers are in town, so we'll see what kind of result we can get out of it. Just a wee interesting thing with the transfer window coming to inside. The transfer windows are actually not a simultaneous close this year. So I believe the English window is actually closing before our one. So I think we're 5 o'clock on the 3rd. I think the English one shuts on the 2nd. It may be either 11 o'clock at night or midnight. So there might be an opportunity to go down south and grab a couple of loan signings, guys that are kind of surplus to requirements, maybe a couple of youngsters that would be coming up looking to get experience and stuff. So I don't want to say we're sitting at the end of the Premier League table waiting for scraps and stuff, but we have we've done not bad out there. I mean, obviously you look at the Mikey Moore signing last season, where he's come up from a Premier League team to come up here to get experience. Mikey Moore's now starting for Spurs at the weekend there. Maybe didn't have the great.
I think he went to Cologne last night. I think I heard they went to Cologne on a loan.
Did it go through eventually? Right. Well,
I think so. Mate. I was otherwise engaged with laughter.
Well, he certainly started for them at the weekend there, so there'll be other Mikey Moores down there. And they might just, when we're looking to try and, we're looking for cover in certain areas. We might say that we're looking for a third or fourth choice centre half. There might be a young guy down there who's not going to get some minutes, playing in EPL too. So listen, if you bring him up here, he's going to be working with Ben Godfrey. He's going to be working with Manny Fernandez on a daily basis. Do you fancy sending him up here and maybe give him a year with us?
Have a word with Mikey Moore himself and he'll get some advice. Because Moore had said he'd spoke to the ex-Rangers players that had played up here and that was what sealed the deal for him, especially Defoe.
Aye, yeah.
What was you mentioned English transfer window. When does mainland Europe shut then? Is that after the Scottish or before?
No, I think it's pretty much the same. I think the Turkish window stays open a little bit longer as well. So it all might not be lost if we don't see Raskin out by the end of the windows as we know it, because Fenerbahce obviously did fling a bid in for him, so you might still see good. The problem that you might have is that we might not have the replacement in the building and they come in. I was about to say that.
We need to be careful with that one, that if Raskin wants to go, the business is here, we sell Raskin, but we don't get the replacement. That would be suicide for this season. We
Well,
wouldn't be strong enough.
We've done that before. We signed the replacement before we sold the asset. When we signed, Roof, assuming that Morelos was going to leave, and it didn't happen. So we ended up quite top heavy at the top of the park. Remember that season? But
and this is things that people don't think about, ourselves included at times. You're just looking for the transfer to come in, but you don't realise that there's a lot of business to be done both sides of it.
Yeah, and that ultimately led to Gerrard not being able to spend much money in the back of 55. Obviously, COVID would have been a massive thing with there, but going so aggressive in the transfer market to make sure that we did get 55. And obviously, the COVID side of things, and people say, well, Gerrard didn't get any money to strengthen. Say, well, mitigate circumstances, we couldn't, So I think as supporters that we're always, well, where's the money? Let's get the money in. Let's get the signings in. We have financial restraints. Every club does. Every business does have financial restraints. Only so much you can spend. There's also financial fair play in your back as well. You can't live outside your means legally within football now, because you will just get fined. You will, get transfer embargoes placed on you.
Yeah, just a wee comments come in. Blue Stars asked us this twice. I'm going to come in with it. Right. So any info on the hearing, guys? Nothing from the media. I believe it's 31st. The Derek McInnes' hearing is, and if he misses out, he misses out. If he doesn't win the appeal, it will be the next 3 games that he'll miss, and one of them will be the Celtic game at Ibrox, the quarter final of the League Cup. Let's play a game here. Let's guess the outcome.
I don't even think Derek McInnes shouldn't even bother going the 31st, because we all know what's going to happen. I don't think he should waste the fuel.
Aye, and it's just to coincide with that, there's a comment from Alistair Dempsey here saying it shows how bad Scottish football is. It shows you how bad, last night, it shows you how bad Scottish referees are. Because when a game's refereed correctly, you get different outcomes. So maybe worth considering, mates. Just leading up to 30:30. We'll try and get another 2 minutes to finish up. Anything else you want to chat about on the famous?
No, I mean, I don't want to say I'm pretty happy. I'm not. We're not.
We need to get our ship.
We've got a wee smile on our face. It's a wee smirk at this moment in time, but we need to be careful. We don't go too soon, go all guns blazing. Let's just get our business taken care of first of all. And be honest with ourselves as well. Our business that we're doing on Thursday night isn't the business we want to be doing either. We should be in the Europa League as well. We should have been presenting ourselves a lot better. We not been great ourselves. So, but if you can't laugh at your greatest rivals in a night which was completely humiliating for them and nothing short of it. Was it Tommy Sheridan called it a disaster? A catastrophe.
It was the weird thing about it was it could have genuinely been about 10-1 when I watched the game. I only watched the second half, so I could be wrong about the first half, but it could have been 10-1 at the end. They missed the penalty. Oh, sorry, I thought the Celtic goalkeeper saved the penalty, to be fair, even though I was ranting about it at the time on the WhatsApp group. They saved the penalty, and I thought it was a sending off, to be honest, as well, mate.
It's a bit spooky. I said that as well. He's went in and cleared with is that not a red card? He's like, is that no? Was it dogs, though, they call it, denying a goal scoring opportunity?
Aye.
But it was a bit spooky. But anyway, we're here to talk about it. It's not about them.
Aye, not correct. But aye, so leading up to Thursday night, it's a 5 o'clock kickoff. For any Bears that are not sure of that, make sure they've got time off work. The Bears that are travelling, I think there's about 600 travelling. Hopefully they get a good show. And you never know, we might have another couple of signings by then, but they'll not be in the squad. But it's a morale boost if nothing else. And let's not forget we're right back. I'm not pronouncing any more names for a few weeks. We're now right back. We only played a few minutes. Costa, aye.
Yeah. But he's really highly rated. He's had caps for Serbia already. I think having Trevejevic at the club as well is going to really help him bed in. He's got a pal there that's going to help with the kind of the bedding in period. They're both of a similar age. I've got absolutely no doubt that they'll know each other from youth international level and stuff. So having a mate within that, I used to do that when I used to do the amateur football. If you had a kind of young guy who was like 18, 19, who was decent, who you were going to maybe try and bring into the kind of amateur team fold and take him away from his 21s team or something like that, sometimes there wasn't a pathway for them to go. you couldn't just say to a young boy, look, can you fancy coming train with, because they'd be scared, like, they'd be feared. So
Yeah.
you used to have to say, listen, you come along, try to bring a few of your pals with you as well. You're not interested in playing their pals, but you're after this guy. But you know, if you don't invite his pals along at the training session, you're probably not going to get him as well. And it's daft wee things like that, you know, if he's
Get
got
you
a pal.
over the line. Aye,
Aye.
100%. The other thing as well, mate, I spoke about it, maybe spoke about this to you already, but I'm going to repeat it. The Dragovic, I'll call him Dragovic. Dragovic, in my opinion, is a fantastic player, but I would be looking to use him always in his right position. Sometimes we're guilty of, like Sterling's been fantastic serving for Rangers because he's played in all the positions that we needed him, and he's never really let us down. But see, this lad, his shooting ability and his positional play, I'd be playing him wherever he wants to play in midfield. I'd be playing the midfield. I'd be basing it on Dragovic for the future. I think he's a real big potential for us.
I'd agree with you. Yep. So let's go and find the next one, because he's one of many. He's, you know, that part of the world seems to be just some fantastic football players. You know, you look at how successful the Croatia's team been for so many years. You know, obviously, part of the kind of old Yugoslavia and stuff like that. They've just some fantastic players over the years. So it's a market that we should be looking to exploit and try and get into. Because see, by the time that you've heard about these young guys, it's already too late. You know?
Yeah, I agree with that. So let's hope that one works out for us, mate. We're just by the halfway mark now, the half-hour mark. I'm going to let you go. I need to go to work as well, get a dug out for a hit and miss. And I'll see you later on, mate.
Aye, I'll catch you later on. All right, take it easy, bud.
Cheers, pal.
See you later on. Bye.